Matt Harvey, what's going on, bro? Do you need a hug? Bartolo Colon, big sexy. We didn't know how big or how sexy you were. Mets Wrap 360 starts now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Meet the Mets.
It is such a happy song.
You just can't feel bad when you hear this song. Look, when you come off of a three-game sweep of the Brew Crew, it's a lot easier to be happier. But this song was going to make me happy no matter what I did. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mets Wrap 360. I am Christian Bladt. To my immediate left, Andrea Fasano. And way down at the end of the desk, Matt Ritter, welcome. Our third musketeer joining us here on Mets Wrap 360. Take a quick minute, talk about where you're from, how you ended up being a Mets fan, because it is sort of a thing like, oh yeah, so, how did you find your way into recovery? How did you get this 12-step? As we've talked about, Andrea is a recovering Yankee fan. How did you end up as a Mets fan?
Like Andrea, I'm a neighboring Long Islander from Plainview.
Yeah, we're
you guys
super
were
close.
They were so excited. You guys have no idea. It was like Syosset, Plainview. And I'm like, oh,
but her
please
dad's
stop
like
it.
fancier. She
You
knows that
had
they
to
thumb their
calm me down.
noses at Plainview. They're like, oh, Plainview, you poor person. But so my dad's an immigrant. And, he, I guess, came over in 72, I want to say.
Okay.
Wow.
And so that was kind of like
Right
the
before,
Mets,
yeah.
right before the Mets heyday. And then
Well, it was after the World Series heyday, and then
but
they
still,
went to the World Series in
73,
'73. So
but
that was
I also
that was the
think there's
time.
something about like being an immigrant and not like the immigrant that's a sellout becomes a Yankee fan. And
I
immediately,
agree.
throws on
I
the
could not
Yankees
agree
jersey,
more.
right?
Yeah.
But like the hardcore immigrant who's like, I'm gonna, my bootstraps. I'm gonna start my own business and do this. That's what you do. You become a Mets fan, and you suffer through the late '70s, early '80s, and then I'm a kid. I was born in '79, so
Yeah, so you're 3 years younger than me. So I was 10 when they won World Series in 1986. So it was kind of a no-brainer, and that means you were 7.
Yeah, my mom wouldn't let me stay up to watch, so I had to listen to Ray Knight in '86. But then, like my mom, a super cool lady, we had a tradition every opening day that was a home game, first home game. She would let me be a truant, and we'd go to the games.
You'd actually go to the game.
Oh yeah!
Oh my god!
I mean,
That's
like
awesome.
I
I
was
only-
a 7-year-old. Like the school teachers must have been like, "What is up with this kid?"
Yeah.
Like every
Why are you so
April
special?
1st,
Yeah.
he is.
Oh, that's
sick.
great.
Yeah.
I went to one opening day ever, 2002. It was the coldest I had ever been at a baseball game. Until I went to a game in San Francisco in July. That's much colder.
yeah.
But I couldn't believe how cold it was. And to tell you how exciting that game was, Al Leiter was the starting pitcher against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mo Vaughn hit a big home run.
Wow.
And it was the first win for manager Art Howe. But I did go to opening day in D.C. last year. So I felt like that was a much more special. And pitching in that game, and we'll talk about him a little later, Bartolo
Oh
Colon.
my God! Big Mo probably averaged like 12 million per home run he hit for us. Like, in his time.
and 16 cheeseburgers per home run.
I'll say the low point as a Mets fan for me is I was at in 2006. I was at the Beltran Strike 3.
Oh, you were at that game.
Yeah.
See, I went to all 3 games in the NLDS. So I was at the 2 games at Shea, the 3rd game here at Dodger Stadium. And I actually still have it. I had a World Series ticket for the Mets in 2006, and just sort of like Marty McFly and his brother and sister, it just sort of kind of disappeared at some point,
gosh.
and there was nothing printed on it anymore. It was really strange. But anyway, so we'll talk all about our history, I'm sure, more in the future. But let's talk about recent history. This week started off not great. Well, actually, that's not true. First game was great.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic. The first and only win in the series against the Nats. Syndergaard, that was great. And, against Max Scherzer, you're like, all right, this is going to be one of those tight, high-pressure games. And then Grandison hits a home run on the first pitch. And, obviously there was some tension throughout the game. But that's really all that they needed with Thor on the mound. But talk a little bit, Matt, you start off. Talk a little bit about Syndergaard. You don't have to talk about him specifically in that game, just what he's meant so far this season. I mean, he just pitched this afternoon, which was great.
I mean, I think, look, it's clearly he's become our ace,
Yeah.
but more importantly, he's become our stopper, the guy who will stop the bleeding if there is any bleeding.
And there was bleeding last
been a lot of
Monday.
bleeding.
After
He's like a
they
dog.
lost 4 games and a 3-game sweep in Colorado. You're like, how does that even happen? happen, you know? And
I mean,
so,
he's a human gauze right now. I mean, he's the guy where, like, I feel also that the players feel more confident.
I agree.
You know, like the lineup feels like, all right, let's jump on a pitch, and then we'll be good for the rest of the. You know what I mean? Like Granderson's like, I'll just jump on one.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And that's what he did.
And against somebody like Scherzer, you kind of have to do that. You know?
It's a cagey move. It's such a veteran move.
Yeah.
You know, I think I saw a stat. Does Granderson have the most or second most active?
So in his career, leadoff home runs, I think it's 39, and I think as a Met, it's 15. So that's a lot. I mean, he's only been a Met for a few years.
Right.
So that's
I'm a
great.
big fan of his, and especially watching that. I watched that back today, and I was like, you know what? Good for him. Like, he's just somebody who's. I don't want to use the word consistent because. That's a broad
reasonably
statement.
consistent, but
But he is, and I feel like he's somebody that will come through in the clutch. And I started liking him as a Yankee.
Of course, you
know.
But look,
I
he's
really
consistent
liked him there.
in the way that if he doesn't have a good week or a good month, it's not because he isn't trying.
Right.
It's not because he's distracted. He's consistently giving it all of his effort, and
that's what I mean by consistency.
He'll take the chances,
and you don't have to be like, oh, he's down, we can't rely on him. Yes, you still can if he's had like a bad run or something like that.
Like also. Great fielder, you know. He fields his position solidly.
He's as old as you are, I think.
And takes good at bats. I think when you say consistency, I feel like when I think of consistent, a guy who always takes good at bats. You know,
exactly.
That's a big deal.
Yeah,
as
it's
a leadoff
like,
guy.
If he's 1 for 4 in a game, it's not like those 3 at bats where he popped up the first pitch. So look, that was a great game and it's very exciting. And I actually watched that one and I'm like, oh, this is so great. And you feel good because it's the Nationals, and you know they had the huge chip on their shoulder from last year. They had a lot to prove, and then you're like, good, you make a statement in the first game,
right?
But then you make a much worse statement in the next 2 games, which
the next few innings.
But then then you get Cologne. That's 2 pretty terrible starts in a row. The start at Dodger Stadium was not great, and then this one was equally as terrible. And look, I mean, part of that is the Nats really are a cagey team. They can definitely string a bunch of hits together. And, when you have a guy like Daniel Murphy in your lineup, anything can happen. But the crazy thing is, like, it was, that's how you knew that Harvey didn't have it in game 3, which we'll talk about in a second. Bryce Harper was 0 for 21. And now he's 1 for 22, but you're like, oh wait, this is the game he gave up a hit. Well, everything's going wrong here. It's interesting to watch Bryce Harper against the Mets in that series. It's a very small microcosm. We're going to get 3 games next week where we'll get a better look at the Nats Park. But that was just it was a rough one just watching. Actually, that Cologne, I had to listen in the car, and I was just like, I think it helps that I'm not watching, but I don't know. And look, here's the thing, when you have the MLB.TV package, or if you have Sirius Radio like I do, it's not like, oh, I'm disappointed I have to listen to Howie Rose on the radio. It's like, oh, good, I have an excuse that I can't be home and watch the game. I get to, experience it in a way I enjoy almost as much. I mean, Gary, Keith, and Ron in the booth is great. That's fantastic. But to sometimes have to check out Howie, it's great. Not so much in a game like that because you're just like, oh my God. But I don't know. What do you think about 2 bad starts by Cologne?
Look, if you look at last year, Cologne had a lot of horrendous starts. Actually. I mean, the guy went, 14 and 14. At this point in his career, he really is a journeyman, 500 innings eating pitcher. If we get anything above that, really, he's just a placeholder for Wheeler
to eventually,
theoretically. So I honestly, I feel like we've been getting lucky with Cologne. The beginning of the year was kind of what I call fool's gold.
You're just
fool's gold. I mean, the guy is like Harris in Major League. He's got, what is that on your arm? That's Crisco. You got your Vagisil. I put some jalapeno on my nose. I mean, that's Cologne at this point. I mean, he's
a movie quarter. I love him. Right?
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
Think about it. Isn't Cologne Harris from Major League at this point?
Just like I always thought that Carlos Delgado was Dennis Haysbert.
Aren't they?
They are they're definitely the same.
Show
guy.
me Carlos Delgado and Dennis Haysbert in the same room at the same time, and I'll believe it.
And they both feel like you need hats for bats.
Yeah.
So look, that game was disappointing, but you're like, you know what? Whatever.
Maybe it's a fluke.
Game 3.
Right.
we're going to get Harvey against against Strasburg. Same couple letters in there. That was the mistake. Harvey and Strasburg, it's like we've seen that show before. In fact, I went to the opening series in DC last year, and that third game was a Harvey versus Strasburg game, which Harvey won. So I'm like, all right. And, you knew that Harvey had, let's just say, some difficulties. But I don't know. This was really surprising, that game. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him that bad. And just the way, the announcers, that was one of those games that I heard on radio and watched as well, different parts of it. And they all kind of said the same thing. You could see that he just, he sort of like let down his shoulders and he was just very defeated. And he wasn't pitching well. It's just there was no coming back from it at that point. Do you think, I'll go with Andrea first, do you think it's mental? You think it's physical? Personally, I think it's both. But what do you think the problem is with Matt Harvey?
I have two things to actually say about this.
Sure.
So I agree with you. It might be a little bit of both. Especially being a baseball player, I would go mental first, is being in any sort of slump. Like, it is so tough. And that's where we were talking about Granderson. He doesn't really have that, which is amazing. But to be a pitcher, and it's got to affect you.
Yeah.
It has to. And then I was listening to Ron Darling talking about the pitching arm and how it's like kind of, he was watching Harvey, and it looked like he was kind of struggling a little bit. That would show signs that he was feeling a little weaker, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
So, great, I understand that. Yes, he did not do a Harvey status quo job.
No.
But I do feel that, in that game, it wouldn't have gone so poorly if, his team was there to back him up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's been enough attention on that fact. It's been, Harvey, terrible, terrible, terrible. But watching the game, you're like, yeah, but it could have all ended.
Yeah.
And it would have not even gone, it could have been a completely different game if you don't drop that ball.
Well, Matt, before I ask you what you think, look, I think something I haven't heard anybody talk about, and I didn't look up the numbers, which maybe would have been good show prep, but I feel like these great starters are not pitching as well with Kevin Plawecki catching every single day. And look, I know that these are guys that don't take all their calls from the catcher, but I think to some extent it is something to at least talk about and wonder how much of it is. Darno can't throw anybody out at second.
Yeah.
And when he gets on a nice tear, he can swing the bat. But he seemed to be able to call a pretty good game. And now Plawecki, who is not supposed to be a starting catcher, he's in there a lot. And what do you think, Matt? Do you think it has anything to do with it?
Look, I definitely agree that the fielding it's been a letdown. I feel like that has been underreported. I don't know what the stats are this year on our fielding, but a couple things. Cespedes is a bit of a disaster in center field.
Yeah.
I mean,
anybody who watched the World Series knew that.
They gave him credit though for like body. What was that today? Body blocking the ball.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's called he wasn't watching the ball and it hit him in the freaking shoulder and the chest.
That's what a second baseman does on a ball that's like drilled to him.
I did not agree with that at all. I said if you watch him, his eyes aren't even on the ball; they're up this way. So come on.
I think he's daydreaming about his next car sometimes.
Yeah,
he's going to get another song made about him, So he's just like, yeah.
But so you've got Cespedes in center causing major issues on routine flies. You've got the David Wright ongoing situation where he can't throw anybody out with any speed at all.
Yeah.
To any ball.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've got those two. I think our double play combo is maybe better this year, but the range isn't amazing.
Right. I agree with exactly that assessment.
First base, we've actually lost a few from Campbell not being able to stretch.
Yeah, and I also
all these little things.
And Campbell's been playing like every day in one position or another, and I'm like, well, he shouldn't be in there.
No, and it's like yes, we can't give Harvey a pass though.
Right.
No, you can't give him a pass.
I'm just saying for it to be so 100% him.
When these things start the dribs and drabs that fall behind him and all that, he should be able. And in the past, you felt like he's like, it's all right, I got this, and he just doesn't.
Agreed.
He's like the guy. It's like when you get like when you step in a puddle and then like you're walking around feeling crappy about yourself, and then more bad things happen because you're like already feeling crap. Like you get a parking ticket.
Here today.
You get here today, right? You probably got a parking ticket on the way over here.
Please don't say that.
We won't get into it, but I think when you're talking about mental, it's very hard for a pitcher to snap out of it when all these other things around him aren't going well. But his fastball's down.
Yeah.
2 miles an hour from last year, as is DeGrom's, which we can get to. But
yeah, we will definitely get to that.
he doesn't seem to have any. I mean, who throws a hanging 0-2 pitch to Daniel Murphy for a home run? That's crazy.
Yeah. No, exactly. And it's just like, I mean, you've seen him hit. You know what kind of pitch selection you should have. And that was when I started to think, I'm like, is Plawecki making bad calls? But I think that Harvey just doesn't have.
You're throwing some dirt on Plawecki.
I am, because he shouldn't be catching every day.
Well, what's his name? This new guy threw out.
Yeah, he can throw runners out at second, so I already like him more.
Captain.
But
Ron,
you make a very good point, because that's something that I don't think has been brought up too much in
that
vein and in that reference.
Right, exactly. So look, I don't know, and it's interesting. One of somebody who enjoyed our first couple shows. His name is Jerome. I hope I got your name right. He has at NYM_news. That's his Twitter and Instagram. And I think we'll have him visit with us somewhere in the future. But he wanted to know: are we more worried about Harvey or DeGrom? And I'll go first. Harvey. DeGrom can still win or keep you in the game without having it. Harvey, you feel like, it's an older reference, but you feel like it's if Mackey Sasser was a pitcher. When he loses it, he loses it. Yeah, exactly. Matt, are you more concerned about Harvey or DeGrom?
Completely. DeGrom's going to work his way out of it. Even if he throws the whole year at 92, I feel that he can win 15 games somehow. He's a fighter, and he uses all sides of the plate, and he just doesn't exhibit a lack of confidence, even when he's not. I feel like he gets out there and he's like, God damn it, I will get these guys out.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he also has a bigger cheering section right now versus
Harvey.
Well,
people are a little down on Harvey.
A lot of people are. But that
Yeah.
affects you.
I know.
It's not fair.
Agreed. We're screwing up Harvey,
but it affects
too.
you a lot.
I feel like as Met fans, we're not doing our job taking a guy who just came off Tommy John.
Yeah.
And remember, Strasburg at this time last year was shitting the bed too.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. Yeah.
So now he's 7-0.
A guy who, despite all the media storm in the playoffs, should not have thrown as many innings as he did. And look, I was at the game in the World Series where they brought him back out. He looked amazing that night.
Yeah.
But ever since then, you're just like, what's going on?
Maybe we should listen to Scott Boras.
Maybe, I don't want to, but there's something to be said for it. Yeah,
because he just had a guy who just went through this and played like crap for. Actually, Strasburg's the reason the Mets probably made it to the World Series. I mean,
because he did not pitch well last year. Yeah, exactly. So. I don't know. I mean, look, those were two really bad games against the Nats, and it's amplified because all three of those games aired nationally on either ESPN or MLB Network. So you get to see like all the shortcomings of the Mets. So everybody, and look, if you win that third game, you're like, oh, it's all right, it's fine. And that's how I felt going into it. And then you're like, oh my God, so now they've won like one game in the last 7. So
and
it's not
like
great.
Yeah,
and if we were doing this show on like Friday afternoon, there would not be, I wouldn't have been as happy by Meet the Mets. Even Meet the Mets, I would have been like,
I know, we're joking about all this right now.
I would have been like, oh, let's just listen a little bit more to Meet the Mets. I don't even want to talk. We'll just play the song for 40 minutes.
We would not be having a good time.
No.
Here.
It is amazing, though, how baseball goes that, like, when we spoke on, what was it? It was Friday? And you were like, you're like, I don't know what to talk about on the show. I don't know, this is going to be a negative show. And then, boom, 2 days later, and it's like,
oh, it's great.
We're great. We're doing well. This is a whatever week, we're still fighting. We're still in it.
We're on our way back up.
Right.
Trending
upward. Exactly. And I mean,
But that's what's so amazing about it, too.
And it's one of the things that we talked about last week is like when you're not in New York and you're not inundated by the New York media, you can feel better about it. But if you follow a lot of that media on Twitter, you do see it.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, the Mets are in third place in a 2-team race. Now, but the Phillies, we'll talk about them the next time we play them. Unbelievable the way that team's playing. Kudos to a team that no one had any expectations for playing as well as they are. But the Mets were a half game behind them at the worst of it. But still, it's like you love to be able to put that headline on there. And look, I get it. I love a good New York Post headline as much as the next guy.
I'll say one last thing about headlines with Harvey is I think because he's also put himself out there to be a media sensation. Yeah, I think it hits him harder. You know what I mean? Like DeGrom's not a guy has been reaching for the spotlight.
Right.
Yeah, and look, he's had a year where
I think he can suffer under the radar also a little bit. Harvey could never suffer under the radar.
And DeGrom, I mean, his wife had a baby. There were health concerns. So, there's
a little more serious issues to worry about.
You can say like, you got to put all that behind you. But you know what? you can't put it all behind you, you know? I mean, I have a 9-month-old son. If he's even sick, if he has a cold, it's hard for me to really concentrate. So I get it. You know, sure, he should be pitching well, but it makes sense. And he has, you know, that was a couple starts. He seems to be looking a lot better. We'll see, basically, is the short answer on that. And, you know, no better time to see than another season, another series with the Nationals. But let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about Big Sexy himself before we
something ridiculous.
Yeah, because this was going to be the only kind of laughs we had during the course of the show. When I found out about this, I think it was Thursday or Friday. I'm like, well, at least there'll be something we can laugh about, and that's the fact that Bartolo Colon has a secret second family.
Not secret anymore.
As we say, not secret anymore. And for those that don't know, Matt has a law background, so he can talk a little bit about this. It was supposed to be secret that he was in court dealing with, for lack of a better term, I guess the full legal term is baby mama. He stopped giving her money, and she wanted more money because she has 2 kids with him. This is his mistress, let's say. So, you know, that's legit, but he wanted it to be private, which you understand. So it was listed as anonymous versus anonymous.
It's never going to happen, though.
Okay.
Right.
It could have. But then he decided he needed to represent himself. So then you see, representing anonymous, New York Mets pitcher Bartolo Colon. So you're like, oh, I think I know who Anonymous is. I just have a hunch. So and I know you've read a little bit about this story, Matt.
I find it fascinating that whoever, like, you assume that every baseball player in the major leagues has an attorney. You know,
you would hope so.
You figure a guy making $10 million a year has a lawyer.
How could you not?
So what must have happened between him and his lawyer, you know, for him to be like, you know what, screw you, Bartolo has got this. You know, like, I just can't even imagine.
He's like, I can hit a home run now. I can do anything. I'm a lawyer too.
No, the thing is, it's about paper. Like, being a lawyer is so paperwork intensive and it's so complex. Like the family court system, like he has to wait in line. Like, there's probably like a line of just like low rent lawyers just standing there, and Bartolo Colon's in his suit, standing in line, and he's got to like sign himself in with the court clerk.
Right.
And Meanwhile, doesn't even know.
Yeah, and he's got to go. Bartolo Colon representing Anonymous in this matter of Anonymous versus Anonymous.
You guys are making this like really funny, whereas I come from the point of view where I'm like, if Bartolo Colon has a second family,
that means everybody
has that guy, right? That's exactly where my brain's going. Every person in the whole MLB, something's going on with that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so.
What?
Yeah, no, you know, and this is
sad.
This is for the sake of a joke. It's not real. It's not even a rumor that I'm starting. But I'm sure Andre Ethier has a second family. That's just because I don't like him. But anyway,
that's a joke, guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My attorney says make sure you know that's
totally
a joke.
But he's not trying to slander anybody.
The thing is, like, you know, look, a baseball player having a second family you could look at it on a personal level and be like very upset for his wife. Except she knows. She knows all about it, and the New York Post, I think, called them at their house, and she's like, I can't talk about it, but yeah, I know.
Well,
and
there
then
you go.
At least she said that.
Yeah.
You know, so she knows, and Matt and I were talking before the show started. I mean, she's not going to divorce him, and she also doesn't want his mistress to get half of his money because she wants some of his money. And let's just assume they love each other, and this was a mistake that happened twice. You can make 2 mistakes in life, right? Probably not on that level.
Come on.
But as baseball players go, you know, he only has 2 illegitimate kids, you know?
Honestly, this is such a...
I heard a rumor that Matt Kemp has 40. No, I didn't hear that. That's not true.
No, I mean, look, in the grand scheme of things, right, professional athletes are among the most likely people to have secret families, we think, right? I mean...
Yeah, every year...
They can afford it.
You can afford it. Right. Every year you spend, you know, 3 or 4 days out in some city. You know, I'm surprised that his secret family was in the New York area. That's the part that surprised me.
Yeah.
Yeah. not in
not
Cleveland.
anywhere else,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You know, but the other thing I was gonna say about it is I think the only reason we're kind of like shocked is because he's just so smiley, which is such a weird thing. Like he smiles so much. How could he have a secret family?
Well, he's happy because he's got two wives. You know, he's like,
smiling.
yeah,
Now we know why he was smiling
exactly, all the time.
He's getting lit up this week. And he's like, it's okay. I'm
That's
gonna see
all
my
right.
second wife.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No, but you know, look, his wife knows about it, so it's like, all right, you know, it's a bad situation that you don't want to be made public, but then it does.
Yeah.
And because he's him, because he's known as Big Sexy, because he's this sort of like ninth wonder of the world who's 42 or 42.
Right.
I did air quotes for people listening on iTunes. You know, maybe he's 45, maybe he's 50, who knows? But, you know, he's 42, he's still pitching in the majors. He hits a home run for the first time, and he is a very fun, likable guy. So it is surprising. You know, you hear that and you go, wow, all right. But it's easy to laugh about, but he did have, I think it was the day of that bad start against the Nats. That's the day that it was on all the headlines.
yeah.
Nah, it's because he's throwing garbage.
He was definitely throwing garbage. Yeah,
'cause he, you know,
yeah.
He's old. He's an old man.
Yeah.
He's an old man.
He is an
trying to
old
play
man.
a young man.
He's an old
sport.
man that inexplicably has good games. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
that's
It's like these two bad starts aren't the story, like you said before, Matt. It's when he has the good starts and strings them together.
Can you imagine if you just like watching, you know, these summer league games, you know, like a Rucker Park or whatever, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
some 65-year-old dude just came up and started dunking on people. You'd be
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
That's amazing. You know, you wouldn't be like, oh yeah, no, that's what he should be doing.
Yeah,
he's,
right.
Yeah.
he's way too old for what he's doing. It's amazing. I love Bartolo.
Well, we want to know what all of you think about Bartolo Colon's secret second family. You can tweet us at ABTV Mets. That's different than the one that I had last week at the advisement of our technical director, Zach. At ABTV Mets seems like it's more consistent. It's easier to follow. So
I'm glad I tweeted
so-
out the wrong name today.
Well,
I did too as soon as our show was over. But it's our handle is at ABTV Mets, and you can also hashtag ABTV.
Hashtag, yeah.
So at least we can keep the chain running.
Right, exactly. So
know.
hashtag ABTV Mets is what you're saying. I think
Yeah.
I might have hashtag Mets 360. So whoops.
But-
But you know what? We're still
find it.
figuring it all out.
Yeah,
You can
we'll
find
find it.
us. That's all right. But but anyway, we'd love to get some reaction to this story and keep it clean, folks. But anyway, so that was something that I was able to smile about because you didn't expect the story about Bartolo Colon's second family. What you did expect was to play well against the Brewers, and now we can look back and they swept the Brewers. Oh, that's this hat, by the way. This is the sausage race hat. I should probably hold it to that one for people watching on the camera. I actually have a Milwaukee
see
Brewers
this.
hat. It's the sausage race, which before
my gosh.
there was the pierogi race, the president's race, and all the
This
other
is
races.
fantastic.
The sausage race was the one and only. And I'm like, man, I don't need to own any apparel for the Milwaukee Brewers, but I love me that sausage race.
How long have you had this?
Probably 10 or
This
more
is
years.
amazing.
Yeah. I don't really wear it often, but and so you know, there was something about the Brewers that I've never felt. That's one of the last teams that I've ever wanted to hate. You know, Ryan Braun, not the most likable guy in the world, which. One day maybe I'll tell a story about Ryan Braun, but not today. It doesn't fit here. But I love Bernie Brewer going down the slide. It's just like, oh, it's fun. I went to a game there once. You know, because it's Milwaukee, they tailgate for a baseball game the way people do for an NFL game. It's so much fun, and it's great. And you know, they're usually terrible. So
good people.
So you
they're
can't
good
hate on
people.
them.
You
Yeah.
can't really hate them. But that
glad
being
they're around
said,
to kick around.
they're not very good. So you're like, okay, well, you have to win that series. And we look back and we're like, we swept it, great. And we were there on the field, but you know what we mean. The Mets swept the Brewers like they should have. But those first two games, they did have to come from behind. And you're like, are you supposed to come from behind against the Brewers? But
Right.
it doesn't matter because Mats pitched really well, and it was really just the 2-run homer in the first inning, and that was it. And then Conforto, whom I love, that's somebody to consider maybe buying a jersey for. You know, we were talking before the show started. Who do you buy player jerseys? Conforto should be in the running because he's going to be around for a while.
I wonder who the #1 selling Mets jersey is right now.
Right now.
Do you think it's Cespedes? Do you
think
think it's a
it's
cologne?
Syndergaard.
Do you think it's a
I was-
cologne that
I was
says "Big
actually gonna
Sexy"?
say-
Sexy,
I was gonna say
yeah.
cologne,
Yeah.
especially after the
I
home
think
run.
it's
And the
Syndergaard
guy who
right
got the
now.
tattoo of
Right.
the cologne tattoo. But yeah, no, I think it's Syndergaard. Like I was saying, I bought, it wasn't a jersey, it was the player jersey, like T-shirt. And I bought that at the World Series, and I bought Syndergaard because I'm like, well, he won a World Series game, so I'm going to get that one. But also, he's great, and he's also the Mighty Thor. Yeah, it'd be good. I bet we can find that out.
DeGrom might be up there too.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing about both of them is that you can wear a wig with your jersey for either one of them, which my friend John and I did at the game. I had the Thor wig, he had the DeGrom wig.
You gotta love that they're now costumes.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
great. No, it's fantastic.
Amazing.
So Steven Matt's sort of an unsung hero. He had a couple of bad starts early, and then he missed a little time. But when he's on, he's great.
Well, that's what's interesting about what you said with the 2-run home run. Him coming back, and not pulling a Harvey or something like that.
I wish it didn't have to be called that, but that's what it is.
Pulling a Harvey.
Unfortunately, for right now, yeah. Look, until he changes our expectations. It is pulling a Harvey.
Right?
Yikes, I know.
But I was kind of proud of him because we were talking just about last week about him missing a few starts.
Yeah.
And, you know, how bad is his injury going to be and how long is it going to go for? So I was kind of happy about that because that made me nervous. I'm not going to lie.
No, that should always make you nervous. And, you know, my abilities as a talent scout apparently not very good because I saw Steven Matz pitch just about a year ago in Las Vegas for the Mets AAA farm team, the Las Vegas 51s. And I knew he was about to get called up soon. I'm like, oh, I got to go check that out. And I was just like, oh, he's good, but he doesn't have the control. We won't see him in the majors this year. So I was wrong.
Yeah, you're like one of the guys at the beginning of Moneyball. You're like, he's got an ugly girlfriend. Not going to be good. Not going to be a good
sometimes
player.
That matters. Yeah. But is his side piece ugly as well?
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it's like, all right.
We got to get a side-by-side comp of
my
wife
gosh.
and side piece.
You guys, that's
wrong?
That's so
See, that's why you need. That's why you need to be here. Be conscious. That's
okay.
wrong.
We
All right.
won't do that.
So
Fine.
we don't need to do that on the air.
Right.
But we can do it after the show.
Offline.
Yeah. So and look, it was great. It was good to see that. You like to see a team that can come from behind. And like we said, DeGrom in that second game, he gave up 4 runs, 4 earned runs. You know, it's not. It's not the defense Harveying up the place. I only said it like that just because I wanted to do it twice in the same conversation. But you know, he gave up 4 runs, but they managed to win. Or did he give? Yeah, he gave up 4 runs. Yeah. So. Anyway, I wrote down the wrong score for yesterday's game. That's what I was. I stopped. He definitely gave up 4 runs.
It was ugly.
Yeah,
and you know he's fighting. He's just fighting.
Yeah,
he threw 100 pitches in 5 innings, which is not good.
That is not good. Yeah, that's Steve Traxel-esque, and that's not a good thing. And you know, so what you realize is in those 2 games, and we'll talk in a second about today's game that Syndergaard pitched. Familia. 15 saves already, and I know there's somebody else that has more, but he really, you know, he had some really hard luck in the World Series. There were also a couple of bad pitches, but he got a couple losses that should not have been his fault, but, you know, again, he was on the mound. And he's looked great this year, and I think that's what you need if you're going to have these close come-from-behind wins. But, you know, when you have Syndergaard pitched the way he did today, 7 innings pitched, only 1 unearned run, and you know, you're just like, yeah, that's what we need. Yeah. You know, we need to see these guys who all can pitch like Syndergaard did today, pitch at least closer to that. But I don't know, it's great. It's definitely a good feeling to catch the end of that game and you go, all right, so we're going to do the Mets Wrap 360, and we're going to talk about a sweep of the Brewers, and somehow you win 4 out of 6 games on the homestand, and you're like, great. And then you catch your breath and you go, oh, you're right, they're playing the Nets Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So it's like, you know, last year.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. I definitely agree.
Especially to come full circle, like come around the week after.
That's what I like about.
I don't want it to be 3, 4, 5 weeks from now. I want it to be right away.
That's what I like about the unbalanced schedule is that you'll play almost like home and home, you know, just like one series in between. You will play your natural rivals in your division. You know, at some point in the season, you're going to play them, you know, pretty close together, which is great.
What's cool about it now, though, right now, is like Harvey has an immediate chance at redemption against Strasburg.
Yeah.
Which is as hard. That's the hardest challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like, okay.
It's something you don't want, but you want it.
Right. Like,
no, you want that opportunity to prove it.
Exactly.
And also, like, if Harvey excels, right, we're all going to be like, yes.
Right.
We're going to know, right? You feel like we're going to know one way or another where he's at.
Yeah.
Right now, like because the start before he just, you know, he had a good start actually the week before that, and we were like, oh, maybe he's
the start in San Diego was a good one, right?
Yeah. So, you know, but it's like these are the big stages where at the end of the day, you know that 3 months from now, there's going to be a game probably, or a series probably, that's going to decide this division. And it's going to be, is it going to be Harvey against Strasburg, or is it going to be Syndergaard against Scherzer? You know, it's going to, at the end of the day,
it might be both. You might need to win both of those games.
But if we're better than them, we're going to have to face that music, right? You can't, there's no avoiding the Nats this year. There's no way.
What I love about that game, the fact that it's on a Tuesday and I'll actually be able to watch it. But in addition to that is Darren, who's the guy who runs the 7 Line website. We give them a shout out pretty much every week, but they're great. He late last night organized 500 Mets fans are going to head from New York to DC.
That's awesome.
They're going to go there just to cheer on Harvey. It wasn't organized until late last night.
Wow.
And they're, so, you know, it's like they can take a bus or they can drive down, whatever they want to do. They could go as a group. But so they have 500 seats, and they're like, it was that simple. He said, Harvey doesn't deserve to be booed off the mound.
Oh,
I love that. And I you know, I'm like, I'm not flying from LA, but if I lived in New York, I'd be like,
you do it.
I could probably take that day off, right?
500 people. That's insane.
And it's, it's great. And I love that. I love that Darren did that. I love that many people went. A friend of mine who lives in DC was going to the game anyway, but he's like, now I'm sitting with the 7 Line, so it's great. So maybe we'll try and get some insider information.
Let's boost Harvey up.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, of course. You don't want to, it's for the whole team's morale.
You know, it really makes it tough. And the media's like taking a giant dump on you.
True.
Exactly. Now tomorrow the game is going to be Bartolo Colon and Gio Gonzalez, which I feel like can go either way. Both of those guys could be on their game. It could be 2-1 either way. But I've seen both of those guys pitch so badly that it could be 8-6. You know, so I don't know what to expect from that. I expect Colon knows that he's pitched 2 bad games.
I hope he wins and starts a whole new family.
So do I. He should. They go to DC enough.
He throws a no-hitter and starts a DC family. You know.
Oh my god.
He's got to have he's got to have an Acela family. They should call it like an Acela
game.
An Acela line.
Maybe he could have a family in each city that's in the division. He could have an Atlanta family, a Miami family, maybe a Montreal family, even though they're not there anymore.
I like that.
Anyway, I agree. I think not specifically, but I think he should have a good game, and that'll be great. And then you sort of have the afternoon Wednesday game, which if you live on the West Coast like we do, that's a 10 a.m. game, and I'm very excited about. Steven Matz and Tanner Roark. His name is not Tanner Roark.
Oh,
I know
it's Roark.
It's Roark. It's like
that seems unnecessary.
It's like speaking of the Acela, when you take the Amtrak in the Northeast corridor, and the stop is in Delaware, they make very clear to pronounce New Ark, not Newark, because you don't want people going to Newark to get off in Newark, Delaware. So yes, he's Tanner Roark. He'll be pitching game 3, and then they'll get an off day, and all they have to do is face the Dodgers, which was a bit of a wash, that series. Kershaw will pitch in that game. Looking at it, I think it's Saturday, and the Sunday night game. Well, that's a late game. And that's going to start when we're supposed to be here, so I don't know what we're going to do about that.
Interesting.
Yeah, that game's at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, so we may have an incomplete wrap-up of the Dodgers series next week. But, look, I'm looking forward to that Nats series. And because I live in LA and I see the Dodgers so much, and I've been at so many awful Mets-Dodgers games, I'm looking forward to that series too, but I already feel like, Kershaw's just really in the zone right now, and
he's unbeatable. We're not beating Kershaw this week. That's just my honest
you can beat him
opinion.
at some point, but this isn't the week where he's
and Strasburg too. I mean, both of those guys are just like so locked in right now. It's kind of scary. I mean, I feel that Syndergaard is almost there. He's like almost at that untouchable level, which is nice.
Yeah,
it would be nice if Kershaw and Syndergaard ever matched. It seems like scheduling wise, Syndergaard doesn't seem to get.
He doesn't seem to get Kershaw.
Or Strasburg, right? He hasn't had Kershaw or Strasburg.
No.
It's so weird how that always works out.
Like, who knows? Maybe later in the season, all it takes is a rain out for one of the other teams, and then it falls into place. So, that'd be interesting to see. Now, Andrea, before we wrap up, did you have a player of the week this week?
I do.
Okay, good.
So I know we only have a few minutes left, but I kind of want to introduce this to you guys. It's something we're going to maybe start doing here, and I think you guys will like it. You at home as well, aside from you two, because this is going to be a surprise to you guys. So it's good because I want your opinion from it. There's a lot of talk like we do, mostly about the starting pitchers. I don't think the closing pitchers, side note, get enough recognition. Like we were just talking about.
Right. They get a lot of attention when they're bad.
I think this week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can throw them into the mix. The home run hitters always get attention. But my picks, although they might coincide with some of these guys sometime, are going to be like the unsung heroes of the game.
It. All right.
Or of the series.
Okay. So Bartolo Colon's second wife? Or no, something else.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey, sometimes it can be a little offbeat like that.
Look,
so
1 week I hope 1 week it's Mrs. Met. Not it doesn't.
Oh,
1 week
fun.
that'd be great. All right, so please.
So keep an open mind. We've got like the guys who hit home runs, like I said this week, and even Wright stepped up, with his Saturday line drive, but. I'm going to give some love, and this is based off of just today's game.
Yeah.
I'm going to give some love to the second baseman, Neil Walker.
Great.
Okay.
And here's why. He not only goes for the outfield fly ball today and hits a single to move a guy in the eighth, but he also hits the final double play to end, or not hits, obviously, makes
Turns
the final
double play,
to end the game and solidify the win for today. And I just thought he's like someone who kind of steps up big in his way. First of all, when does a second baseman ever get really like...
Well, we had a second baseman for a long time who got a lot of attention for not being able to turn double plays, for getting confused on the base
like
pass.
You said,
and I love Daniel Murphy, but you had to notice, he definitely lost a few
today's game-ending turn was really, the guy runs real fast, too. So you had to do the perfect double play, which we never were able to turn last year. We were never able to turn a perfect double play.
Right. So I agree, though.
And you were mentioning that before, how that's like
Neil Walker is a great addition.
Neil Walker is my hottie, player of the week for me. What do you guys think of that? Okay?
I can't disagree with that.
Right?
I think that he's consistent. I think he's been consistent all week.
Consistency is also,
and as we talked about with Granderson, consistency is very important. What do you think?
I've got a different one, but I like it.
Okay. Thanks.
Another under the radar, but had a great week. Addison Reed, my boy.
He is your boy.
I just
agree.
said that.
Yeah. We hung out with him down in Florida for spring training. He's awesome.
Excuse me.
He's super
That's cool.
Hey, he tweeted at me once, so that's
well,
that's the same
awesome.
thing.
I'll try and get him on the show, but this week, he's had a great year. Just under the whole pen has had a phenomenal year. But he pitched 3 games in a row and didn't give up a run. I don't think the entire week, and they didn't use him today because he was burned out. But he had to throw. He had to really work his last outing.
Yeah, he really did. It was like
get through.
28
and
pitches
I agree
or something.
with you, definitely under the radar. Like you skip over him and go to Familia.
Yeah, no, you
but
definitely.
I think 100%.
Well, I'm going to go with, and this is sort of more of a, hey, hang in there, buddy. My player of the week is going to be David Wright because he is working so hard to stay on the field. And look, you see, he can't make a lot of plays, and it's a little painful to watch at times. But for him to have a big walk-off hit in the come-from-behind win, I thought that was great. I was excited for him because apparently he hadn't done it since 2012.
He needed that badly.
He needed that because he's come up in so many spots the last couple of years, especially since we found out about his spinal stenosis. And you're like, well, no, he did not get that big walk-off hit, and then they go on to lose the game. So I felt good because I love David Wright. My wife loves him in different ways. We talked about it.
I was going to say, he'll always be my MVP.
He's your player of every week, so you mean basically player other than David Wright.
Exactly.
But I was so excited. I was just like, good for David Wright.
Listen, I can't even go to the farmer's market when my back hurts.
That's a great point. Yeah, I would not be here if my back hurt.
Spinal injury, and he's like, I'll just take a few less. Swings in pregame.
Sit out a game here and there.
Yeah.
And we're like, you can't throw the same.
Like you think about
how dare you?
Like you think about motions, right? A ball smashing a bat at 100 miles an hour through a tightly corked body.
Or even, like you said, the throwing.
Like,
of course he's not going to throw as hard. But anyway.
Well, anyway,
so that's
look.
Our player of the week
that's our
segment.
player of the week, which I love that segment. Who was your player of the week, or who do you think was the player of next week when you send it at the end?
Like, give us
It's the future, yeah. Who was the player of the week in the future? You can tweet us at ABTV Mets. Let us know. And my friend Melissa, who listens, said, Andrea, you have great taste in music. Country music all day long.
Yeah, girl.
I disagree, but that's all right.
It's okay.
I just wanted to get that in there.
I don't need you on that bandwagon.
Anyway, so we have a lot to talk about next week already. We've got the Nats and the Dodgers. And so for Christian Bladt, Andrea Fasano, and Matt Ritter, we will see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.